Okay, we are 131 days out, officially a week and a half into having food, and this is going to be the first new wave since adding food back in. And I was thinking way too hard, way too long about how I wanted to shape this wave up. Because every part of me wanted to go back to true conjugate, true max effort, but I figure that wouldn't be wise with how not heavy we've gone recently. But gotta hand the rail out, so shut up. Yep. Bus! Hell yeah. That's moved. And the other part of me was like, well, if I transition to a structure similar to how I run the non-conjugate team programming for the team, that'd be a good way to ease back into more max effort type stuff. But then I kind of realized that with how well last week showed, like what I'm doing right now is absolutely working. We are building momentum, so it'd probably be dumb of me to change things if it is working. So we're sticking with the same 5-3-1 style base for the mains, but we are going to be a little bit more aggressive with the 1 rep max estimation to make sure we're going heavy enough to progress. But I am going to continue to refine the accessory work selection to make sure that the main work keeps trending in the direction that I want to trend, but more on that after we're done the main bench. Also, I gotta say, it is so freaking nice to not be afraid to go straight from 1 rep to 2, because having to do that intermediate jump was quite shameful for a little bit there. It is nice to feel like me. And like shoulders and pecs are feeling a little bit tired after that big ass dumbbell press on last Thursday. But the thing is, like, it's week 1. Not supposed to feel good in a week 1. Just gotta do our best with it. And I think our best is still gonna be pretty damn okay. Also, gotta say, it's very nice to be able to go straight to 315 for 265 again as well. But I mean, like, the true sign that I'm back will be when the 315 to 405 jump is casual. So we got a little ways yet. But I mean, for now, I'll take that feeling casual as a very good sign. And Darrell was just asking me whether or not he should go 395 or 400 for his top set. And I told him to not do the thing. That would be lame. Saddle. Good. Pull. Yep. Perfect. Good. Pull. Yeah. There we go. Glad he didn't go 395, and it just made fun of me, Anna, for not benching 225 here, so hopefully that motivates you to put some sauce on this.
Yep.
Settle. Good. Yeah. So that was adequately saucy.
25.
Anyways, 345 for work set number 1 for me, and goal is to keep this feeling casual. Adequately casual. And after all the shit talking on Miana's last bench set, she said she's doing a single at 225, and she's planning on making it look casual enough that she can go up, so we'll hold her to that.
Yep.
Squeeze. Yep. Decently casual.
Yeah.
Maybe could have paused a little better, but I'll accept it. Anyways, 365 for the second work set, which is technically the last warm-up for my top set. And as always with a last warm-up before a top set, goal is to put enough sauce on it that we are confident to go up. Ooh, good song.
Yeah.
yeah, we're good to go for that 385 top set. And something that I'm going to have to be mindful of going into that top set is just making sure that I'm pulling the bar out far enough to really feel the upper back catch, because it's something I've been kind of like struggling with a little bit, just because being leaner, the upper back sensation that I get with less upper back fat is a little bit weird. But anyways, Miana's going to go 245, so I'll shut up and give her hand off.
Yep.
Squeeze, settle in, spread. Yep. Oh, fuck yeah, buddy.
I almost wanted to do a second.
You can go up if you want to.
Yeah?
Yeah, that looks really good.
Okay.
Somebody's getting kind of strong again. And to help with that overall tension situation for me, going belt on for the 385. And like, not that a belt helps as much on bench as it does on a squat or deadlift, but I just feel like it helps me connect the leg drive to the upper back tension a little bit better. And considering we did 405 for 5 last week, goal here is to get at least a couple of bonus reps. And I guess all that talk was kind of for nothing, because I rushed in that set a little bit like an asshole and dumped away from the triceps on that third rep. Got some not so perfect feels on the non-surgically repaired pack, like nothing bad enough to really fuck up training, just bad enough that I didn't want to push too far at the AMRAP. So I guess that is my lesson, that even if I do want to go plus reps, I need to not be in a rush to get there, because if it's at the detriment of getting those plus reps, well, I'm not doing myself any favors. So yeah, Miana's going to 55, so hopefully she does a better job than me on this.
Yep.
Settle. Big spread. Yep. Through. Yeah. There you go. I think Miana wins for today. Anyways, time for those accessory modifications. And I was kind of talking about this last week. Like, I've been running the machine JM presses, and I'm a little bit unsure if it is getting me like the right tricep sensation. So we're sucking it up and going back to the barbell today. Never mind, JM press did not feel perfect on that little pecorino, which I think is actually kind of like an okay sign, because minor strains tend to hurt a hell of a lot more than they should, because there's still, well, a lot of stuff that's attached that's still, you know, there to be pissed off. So we're going to pivot the JM press to a barbell skull crusher to load the triceps hard as we can with as minimal pec as possible. So we're going to do that. Yeah, that's going to be workable. So we'll give a blue a ride. And I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but when I was still running my own diet and I was absolutely beyond shittered, I had a very similar feeling tweak going on that session. And I said this when that happened, but I always freaking hate getting hurt in training. Not because like I'm worried about infecting my own training, but just because like I have to talk about it, because every time I talk about when I feel pain, there's always some idiot in the comments that wants to call me an idiot for getting hurt. But the thing is like, if you're pushing, if you're being aggressive in training, if you're trying your hardest, like, shit's gonna pop up. And it doesn't matter if shit pops up, as long as you know what to do about it and how to handle it. So the plan for the rest of this is to push the triceps, push the shoulders, and then get on some desensitization work on the pec, so that this little tweak impacts the rest of the training week as little as possible. And I mean, big picture, running the skull crusher instead of the JMs and being a little bit more direct on the triceps might not be the worst thing for me anyways. think we might have one more little jump. And I think like the only saving grace today to help with my current level of annoyance is the fun part of these little snaggles is it's just an opportunity to show people how little of a big deal it can be if you treat it right. And the plan was to run dumbbells for overhead, but I'm thinking with how the pack is feeling, it'd probably be wiser to actually just run the machine instead, just to minimize the risk of things getting weird. And no real clue where we're gonna be able to end up here for loading. I think we're just gonna feel out a plate and then decide if it feels sketchy or not. Oh, we're totally good to go. So, straight to 2 plates. We'll see if I live to regret this decision or not. Not too shabby. Thinking we should be good for 2.25. And I think like the biggest thing I'm kicking myself for right now, aside from dumping that 3rd rep and losing this gap and then having a little twinge, is that I can't help but wonder like, hey, if I just did what I originally wanted to do and ran a max effort floor press today, maybe I would have held position better and not got it fucked up. But I mean, we're here, we got to deal with it. So yeah, 2.25. Decent little crank here. Might have ripped too narrow on that one, but felt okay on the pack. Not like bad at all. Just felt heavier than I wanted to. So the runner again, nudge her out just a hair. The other thing I got to remember for set 2 is that I need to act less afraid of it, because if I'm not assertive, it's going to feel like shit. I also have Tyler watching the right side just in case anything does get fucked up. Like having his presence here will take a little bit of fear out of the equation. So hopefully this one goes better. But yeah, you see how like it's so narrow at the top and gets so wide at the bottom?
Yeah.
Like the hand position is very weird.
So far down because it widens out on you.
And I'd say that was a little better than the last one, so I'm okay with it. And before we move on to the make pec feel really good and juicy stuff part of the training session, we're gonna finish touching triceps, and I want to see if I can make a rolling dumbbell extension work right now, because I really want to run a rolling dumbbell extension. And we're gonna start pretty not aggressive and loading with the 60s just to make sure we're good to go before we commit to anywhere near work set. The press up didn't feel bad, which is promising. Oh yeah, and we'll be fine to run these guys. So yeah, we're grabbing 80s. And I think like the real secret for low grade strains is obviously number 1, don't be a dumbass and dump a bench rep and have the strain in the first place. But number 2 is like just find shit that you can do, because the more stuff I've done, even though I'm not directly targeting yet, it's just feeling better and better and better. And like it's gone from absolute like sheer panic the moment after it happened to like me being like I always knew I'd be okay. Like even when I was panicking, I'm like, calm down, Seth, you got this, you know you'll be okay. But like right now I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be more than fine. And remembering to adjust the butt pad up for this one, because we are giving 80s a whirl. Yeah, and that press up, totally fine. grabbing 90s for the next set. I've also got to remind myself that it's never going to be as easy as I want it to be, never going to be as smooth as I want it to be. And I'd way rather have a little fuck up like this at 18 and a half weeks out than at 8 weeks out, because at 18 and a half weeks out, like, I got time to make sure that it's not an issue come meet day. And I also am going to remember to be less of a dumbass moving forward so we can make the rest of the training cycle a little bit smoother. But yeah, 90s. Embracing the stretch down here. I think that's probably hard enough for day one back to rolling dumbbells, which means now time to go get a big old sweet pec pump to make things feel better. So for that, we are back on the oh so glorious Panada press machine that we haven't run in a little while. But the big reason that I want to run this in the current circumstances is that, number one, it feels really freaking good, but number two, it like presses along the exact fiber line that I had that little strain, so it should be really okay for desensitizing in the area. And like, am feeling it here, but it doesn't feel anywhere near unmanageable, so we'll be good to go. And I think we'll be good to go up, but just gonna finish the set out and get that nice pump. That's adequate pumpage. I think like the other thing I'm kind of kicking myself for too is, again, like obviously dumping the rep was and losing scap position was the problem there, but like the bigger problem is like, had I been less aggressive in my load selection, had I, you know, chosen a slightly different protocol, probably would have been a very different outcome. So I think it's gonna be my reminder to make things less aggressive across the board, because I don't need to be, like, it feels like I need to be in a rush to be strong again, but if I do rush to be strong again, I'm gonna have something fuck up worse than this. And like, I can afford to have this fuck up because this isn't that bad, but I really can't afford to have like something that's gonna, you know, require time off or a surgery. So yeah, we're gonna rethink the program strategy a little bit just to be smarter. And I think like the hardest thing about coaching myself is, obviously I'm someone that loves to push himself, but I think that often comes to a detriment because, well, with my injury history, that is all a result of just trying to push too hard for the circumstance. So the challenge right now, as food comes back in, is going to be to have that little bit of restraint so that we actually can make it to the meet. So forgot the foot pedal, but that's that got hard enough. And like, the more stuff I'm doing for it, the more confident I am going to be that I'm going to be fine. But it's also like, the more I'm becoming freaking furious at myself for being in this situation anyways. And the logic behind picking this right now is that like, the way this ramps up in strength curve, not super vulnerable in the stretch position, but then get really big squeeze at that top end. And I don't know, it feels nice. So we'll probably ramp up because this is really light. Thought it'd be wise to start a Tyler loading, but it's making me feel better about myself, but even with it being a little bit jacked up, we're still stronger than Tyler. We'll go up for the next set again. I'm not gonna try to copy Darrell and go full stack. We'll go like 3/4 just for the sake of not being stupid. Like, this thing is very not heavy, but I still don't want to be that aggressive. I think like that's the perfect where it's like feeling it a lot, but not feeling it to the point where it's sketchy. Like, that's the target. Like, work it, but don't make it fucked up. I honestly wish it was like more ramp up at the top because I do wish I got a little bit harder pulling the stretch, but tell myself that it's good for me to not be too aggressive up top. And I think the thing that I'm at least a little bit grateful for, I guess I gotta put the 10s on first, the 25's too big. And I think the thing that I'm at least a little bit grateful for out of all of this is that the surgically repaired pec, like, it feels absolutely rock solid at this point. And as much as I'm like not stoked that the one that hasn't been repaired, it feels a little bit funky, like, I'm at least glad the surgical side is not a worry right now. Anyways, Travis isn't here, but we're gonna push the delt raises appropriately now that we learned how to push them last week. I'm okay with that. We'll run another. Adding a 10 for set number 2. Big crank here. Oh, nope. I think I can try harder. Whoa. That was heavy. We're going to strip some weight off and get some better reps in. You want to? Yeah, okay. Tyler's going before the down set. Watch him do like 20 and it'll feel really bad. Thank goodness. I'd have been pissed. Okay, have a good one, dude. And I might have too much shame for this, but it honestly like felt like the nature of this machine, like holding onto the handle and having my wrist not buckle, like kind of felt like it was maybe not the limiting factor, but kind of getting in the way of pushing. So we may have to try wrist straps on this, as embarrassing as that would be. Delts are blowing up. And now we're just gonna spin the camera around, move it back, and touch some rears. And I'm thinking after pushing these probably too hard last week, we're just going for quality over quantity here. I don't have the same weight on each side, so we'll fix that first. I love these so much. We'll run another here. And after watching the tape back last week, one thing I am modifying here is I'm setting up a little bit closer to the machine, so I'm getting like more down as well as out, and that should be lining up a little bit better with fiber orientation. Look at me being a nerd. Yeah, I love these. And it's really freaking crowded around the pull-down machine that I have been running in this slot, and I was a little bit concerned that I wouldn't get to run it, but then I remembered that this guy is also freaking sweet feeling, so we're gonna run this guy in its place. Like with all that shiny, fancy Panada stuff, it's easy to forget about the classics, but this thing rips. We'll be able to go up for sure. So let's see if 3 is enough for a work set. think we're gonna go for. Okay, big crank. Maybe a little too hefty. I'll drop it back down to 3 and squeeze out some better ones. Higher quality crank incoming. Am okay with that one. And it is, once again, arm time on this oh so lovely machine. Gonna run this guy as first biceps movement of the day, and then we'll probably do something a little bit more exciting for the second that should also hopefully help make the pec feel a little bit better. We can definitely go up though, so I will go up. Okay, more appropriate work set incoming. Realize I need to drop the seat down, but we'll finish the set first. Slightly more optimized setup, like can actually get full elbow extension with the seat lower, so we'll crank. Calling that adequate effort there. And for a little more vulnerable position exposure, I'm not going to go full Dr. Mike supine curl mode, but we're going to do a little bit of incline dumbbell curling, which I was running freaking all the time during the initial pec tear rehab. And I kind of got away from it a little bit just because, like, if we're thinking about actually loading the biceps, we're going to be a little bit limited. But I think for the sake of loading a position that I clearly need to be more stronger in, just getting a little bit more connective tissue exposure, I'm gonna make myself do these more often. Plus they feel really nice, so I'm okay with that. And by nice, I mean like a gigantic stretch through the pec where it feels nasty, so it'll be good for me. And I think we're good to be a little bit more aggressive in loading for number 2. So, 30s. That is gross. In the best way possible. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And it is Monday. I know that we normally run the Twisted Twist Machine Monday. We're still going to use it, but we're going to use it to anchor a band to. Because the thing is that with the squat brace, with the deadlift brace, it is no longer feeling oblique limited in the slightest, but it is feeling a little bit hip flexor limited. So I'm going to secure on something where it's a little bit shorter of a pull because this is some hefty band tension. But I think it'd be wise to start bringing in some more hip flexor work before we need to. So we shall crank. And ideally, I would be running this on a cable so we have more tension through the whole range, but cables are all very busy, so the band will work. And really trying to hold to that top so I can get the feel I need to pull into the bottom of a squat and a deadlift. With how hard this is, I feel like we're making the right choice. And as much as I am a little bit pissed off about that bit of pec ouchie we had there today, it's a good reminder that I still need to play by the same rules as everyone else, and that is I can't be trying to force progress faster than it is going to actually be able to happen. And I'm thinking back to the call that Darrell helped me make on Saturday where I didn't take another jump on squats. And today kind of confirms that that was very much so the right choice on that squat day. And I really am kicking myself a little bit because obviously I shouldn't have pushed through a rep that got a little bit dumpy, got a little bit sketchy. But the other obvious thing is that I should have just been less aggressive with calling my numbers for today and not try to force so much weight on the bar so soon. And like after last week, making that 405 by 5 go so well, like I thought, yeah, we're going to be good for it. But then I got to remember I'm carrying the fatigue from that 405 by 5. I'm carrying the fatigue from the big dumbbell press we did on Thursday. And it's like I should have just expected that, realized that I probably didn't need to go so heavy today. So I think the biggest thing that I need to do moving forward is adjust my plan a little bit to be a lot more conservative than I want to be, which in a way is going to kind of suck because it will feel like I can put a lot more weight on the bar. But I think the biggest challenge of this meet prep at this point isn't going to be getting strong again. It's going to be making sure that I actually make it to the meet. And the way that I'm going to actually make it to the meet is by having that little bit of restraint right now as we're coming out of the diet and as things are starting to feel a whole lot better. Because just because things feel good, obviously doesn't mean that we can put weight on the bar. And if I look at all of the big mistakes that I've made throughout my entire training career, it is that just trying to be more aggressive than I need to be on a given day, in a given moment, that has created a lot of ouchie boo-boos over the years. And even though I have smartened up so much from those days, I still do need to get better at it. And if I want to reach the numbers that I think I am capable of, I need to smarten up. So this is going to be time to start being smarter so that we can make it to the meet in one piece, because the strongest Seth on the platform is going to be the Seth that doesn't have any more schnaggles or boo-boos throughout the rest of this prep. And then the other thing to touch on too is that if you do happen to have a schnaggle or a boo-boo, like the worst thing that you can do is panic and not use it. Because had I just shut it down with that bench, done nothing else, like my pec would still feel just as shitty as it did immediately after benching. But because I moved it, because I used it sitting here now, it went from like a 8 out of 10, like holy shit, I'm sweating because it hurts so bad, to like, it feels really, really, really chill. I can move it around, no restriction, like didn't hurt really at all on anything I did after that first shitty JM rep that I probably shouldn't have done, and I should have eased into a little bit more. But point is that if you do have a minor strain, like 99% of the muscle is still there. We just got to convince it that it can work. We got to show the brain that it is capable of handling loading. And even though I did a very poor job in load selection today, I did a pretty good job at handling that minor strain. And I know that if I am smart with my choices on Thursday, we should be able to have a smooth Monday if we're smart again on our choices on Monday. And then we just need to be continuing on with being smart with our choices, and we will be good to build off of it. So yeah, bottom line, going to start taking a dosage of my own medicine, because the biggest thing that I tell a lot of lifters in the team is that they don't need to force weight on the bar. They just need to do enough of the main work to get the work done, and then let the accessories build up. So that is going to be the name of the game on here on out. So we will be maybe a little bit more boring in the coming weeks in terms of main work load selection, but that should turn into better feeling and looking main work in the future. So that's what I got for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your night, and I will see you in the team.